Hello and welcome back to our data structures and algorithm series. In the previous video, we looked at how to insert values into an array. In this video, we're going to look into array traversal operation. The array traversal operation is important because it enables us to access the elements of the array. In order to achieve that, we have to access the index of the array. So that's why the index of the array is important. Now, for example, if we want to access the element 4 at index 0, we would use the syntax my array, then inside square brackets, the index. So for example, for this one, it's going to be 0. And this is going to print the value 4. Now, as you might have guessed, the time complexity for this particular operation is O of 1. Now, it's not just the first element that we can access any other element. So if you want to access a single element in an array, you can simply do the name of the array, then the index. For example, if you wanted to print 23 in this array, then you'll do print my array. Inside the square brackets, you'll enter the value 8. Now, what if you wanted to simply traverse? Now, this is the real traversal. Visit every element, because traversal really is visiting every element of the array from the start to the end. Now, this is how this is done. So you have to visit every element one at a time, until you get to the very last element. So to be able to achieve this, then what do you need to use? Yes, you guessed it right, a loop. So in Python, it's even much simplified. You simply use the loop by writing for, then a variable that will hold each individual element in the array. So here I'm just calling it element. Then in is a keyword, then the name of your array. So I'm just calling it my array here. Then inside the loop, you can now print the individual elements by printing the variable excuse me, that will hold the values of each index of the array. So this will simply print out all the values in this particular array. And as you might have guessed, the time complexity for this particular operation is O of n. O of n. So let's dive right into our code and explore how to traverse an array. So let's begin by just accessing a single element. So let's access a single element in an array. So to do that, I just want to go direct and use a print here. So for example, print, then my char ABC, then I'll do the square brackets. And for example, I want to access the last item. Do we have 3? Really? No, we have 2. Okay, so I'll just comment this line so that I can be able to show the results here. So I'll run the code, and this should give us C, correct? So that should give us C because C is on index 2 on my char ABC. So that is how we access a single element. On the other hand, let me comment this again. If you do want to access or traverse elements of an array, and then you have to do for, then you create a variable. It can be called any name. For example, alphabets, like that. So you can call it any variable, and then in is a keyword. That's why the color code there is purple, just like for. Then the name of the array. So for example, we want to print all the alphabets in our new array. So we can just go print, then the name alphabets, like that. So this should be able to print for us all the values in our array, in my new array. So that is A, B, C, D, all the way to F. So this can be any variable. This can be any variable. So it's very easy to traverse elements in an array. Okay, so if we wanted to, for example, also print the values of this array, my array, we will probably just do this, duplicate this line of code, then maybe change this to say numbers. Then just do my array like that. So if you do that and you run this code, we should get, you can always pull this up. We should get the letters, then the numbers in our array. Now, that's not a very efficient way of doing things because you're going to duplicate a lot of code. So for that purpose, let's create a function for traversing these elements. So a function to traverse and print values in an array. Good. So we do a function by doing def, and then the name of the function, so it should be meaningful, so traverse array, something like that. Then we want it to receive the array, so that is just a variable. Yeah, it's just that, by the way. Then inside it we can do now the for. So for elements in array, then we can print the elements. So this makes our code very neat because we can call the function now as many times as we want. Call the function to traverse the array. So we can call this function traverse array. Then we can pass it, for example, my array. And if we run this code, it should be able to give us all the numbers. It's a bit neat because if we want to print the alphabets, we can simply duplicate this line of code and call my new array, just like that. So that's why functions are important. So you see now we're also printing my new array. So very easy to do that. We can similarly do an array for accessing, we can do a function for accessing a single item. So function to access a single item in the array. Okay, so again def, then the name of the array, single item. That's not a very meaningful name. Access okay. Access by index. Okay, I can't think of a very good name there. Okay, so again, we just wanted to receive the array. Remember, this array thing I'm writing here is just a variable, so you can call it anything. It's just a local variable. And the next thing we want to access is the index of the value we should print. So after that, we go ahead and print that particular value by printing array, then index, like that. So this particular function, if called, it should be able. So calling the function to access array index. So we can call it by simply doing the name accessed by index. Then we pass it the array. For example, my char def. Then we want to print E. So we are going to send position number 1 like that. Okay, so so let me just comment this ones and just comment this one, this call, so that it does not execute. So it's important to remember that. Are we getting an error? Type error, object is not collectible. Okay, let me just use another name here. Not a very good practice, but because of time, let me just use double Y. So okay, so let's see if that is going to we're still getting the error. Let me work on it. Okay, so I have just identified what the problem is. As you can see, the error here is telling us it's a type error, and it's telling us that the array object is not callable. So what I was trying to do here is actually call, because this is how we do a function call. The name of the call, then these brackets, this kind of brackets. But remember, for an array, to access a single item in an array, we are supposed to instead use square brackets. So that's the mistake I did. Again, I don't like this name so much, so I better just call it maybe that. Okay, so now if we run our code, then good, we should get E. But what if a user, for example, does 3, and of course this one does not get to 3, so run, and now you see we have an index out of range error, index error. So to avoid that, you need to maybe use a sat or use an if statement. So you can use a sat. Remember, it's a sat, then the condition. So index should be greater than or equal to 0, and index should be less than. Now this is a function, an array function. It's called len. So len, then the array. So it should be less than the array. It should be less than the length of the array, the index that has been given. And then after that, it should be a comma, and then the message. The index must be greater, must be positive, and within the range of the array. Okay, so let me run this again. What will we get? Good. So now we have an assertion error. So we cannot be able. We are able now to stop the user from doing that. So the index must be a positive number and within the range of the array. So that is it for this particular video. I hope you enjoyed and learned. In our next video, we will explore the search operation. So see you then. Bye bye for now.